Hey guys, Typical Cycle Plate. Today working on this 1989 Yamaha Virago 1100. I'm going to be doing fork seals on an oil change, but this video is going to be about the fork seals. I'm going to do a couple different things on this video to shorten it up for you guys, so please, in the comments, let me know if you like it. It should be pretty sweet. Do me a favor, please hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, it really helps me out. Give me some comments below and let me know what you think. Let's get this one done. Loosen the top cap, not all the way out. Now, important tip, if you have air forks, these are connected with these sleeves. These sleeves have an O-ring. There's one here and there's one there. Spray some lubricant on the top right here because you're going to be sliding these O-rings through this section right here. All right, so this cap is going to stay on. I already tapped this one up a little bit just so you can see there's a lip right there. It doesn't let them slide on too far when you're putting it back together. And you're going to take this, work it down, and you're going to just tap this back up. Can't really do it by hand. Just get a piece of plastic or something and just slightly tap this up. And don't pull each side down further than the other because there's the connector line right there and you'll stress it out. It is steel. And then as it's sliding up, you can see the hole that lets the air in there. Make sure before you start anything, you let the air out of the valve from the side. All right, you can see what I mean right here. Here's your two seals. Be really careful with these or replace them. I'm going to use some seal guy when I put them back on. There's your hole from the other side, letting air in. This lets the air in here. Now we got to take this clip off so we can slide the forks off all the way. It's just a spring clip. It'll come right off. Let's slide the fork out all the way. All right, leg is out. Now I'm just using a gray Scotch-Brite pad with some WD-40 just to run it up and down this to get all that rust marks off. I got all the rust marks off there. And I'm also going to look for any pits and grooves because they'll tear your new seals back up again. So make sure everything's looking good. All right, now that we loosened this while it was on the bike, we're going to loosen it. Just be mindful, it's got some spring tension behind it. So just push down on it when you're taking it off. All right, and this stanchion is going to slide down. This is just sitting up here, and so is this. Spacer, top cap, and make sure you get this all cleaned up. Get that rust all off there. Right, spacer. Spring. Alright, spring's all out. Just dump all the oil out. Okay, 8mm out of the bottom, and if you have a regular, I'm using an impact to get it out. It's already come loose. If you have a hard time getting it all apart, just put the spring back in and then do this, and the spring will hold it down. But this is already loose and it'll come out. And then with that out, the damper rod will come out. Right there. And you see it just sits in the bottom where that nut we just took out, 8mm goes in. So that's why if you put the spring in, it'll push this down and hold it in place. All right, so we're just going to take this out so we can get it all cleaned up. All right, let's get to the fork seals. All right, so a little flathead in here. This is just a cap right here. And then we have our dust seal underneath that. And in here is a clip, just like your upside down forks if you haven't done those before. It's the clip right here. See that coming out? Just be careful with your screwdriver, and we're going to work that out. Alright, with this clip out right here, I like to just spray some cleaner in there and get all the crap out of there so when we slide hammer it apart, all we're going to do is grab the outer and the inner and slam them apart, and it'll take it off. But just clean all that stuff in there in case there's any dirt and grime, you don't scratch up your tubes. Alright, so now you're just going to take them, slide them all the way out, and pull them apart. Alright, and then we're apart here. Our lower and our upper has the seal. Alright, retaining clip, and then our sliders right here, our bushings. Alright, and then slide your seal off. Retaining clip. And there's bushings on here now, and you can leave those on if you're just doing seals. Just clean them up really good, put some oil on there. But we're just going to leave those on and slide our new bushing, the retaining clip, and the seals and a dust seal on. Alright, so in the bottom of your outer tube, there's a spacer here also. And this spacer here sits like that onto the bottom part. All right, so putting it back together, I'm using factory parts. This is the Yamaha dust seal, and here is the Yamaha oil seal. All right. Put a piece of tape over here. There's the ring right there for the clip for the air crossover part. So you want to just tape that. This is already tapered right here, so you don't have to worry about it. I'm using Belleray fork oil, 10 weight. All right, so putting this back together is a little bit tricky. This goes inside here. I put some new oil on here. This goes inside the fork tube here. It has to slide all the way through and stick out of the bottom. So when you drop it in, it might not come through, but it needs to come through the bottom like this, because this piece has to go on here, and this is what goes to the bottom of the fork where the nut goes in the bottom, okay, the bolt. So with this like this right here, we're going to slide it back in. All right, and I put some oil on these 2 bushings here. I'm going to slide this down. And when it hits the bottom, you need to get it threaded on here, but this right here is going to be a little difficult to get it started, because it's not going to want to bite, because there's no weight on it. Sometimes it's tricky. So what you want to do here is just, you can push the spring in the center and hold the spring down, and we'll help you get it started. So I'm dropping the spring in. I'm just pushing, so I have the spring in here, I'm just pushing the spring in with my finger, and you can see it pushes the nut out, and that'll just help me get it started. All right, there it goes. Okay, so our fork seals, we have our retainer ring right here. This goes on first. Then our brand new Yamaha fork seal that I put some oil on to lubricate it so it goes on nice and easy. Slide that on there. Now to get these down into place, I'm going to be using a piece of PVC, and I'll show you that. Alright, so this is a 1.5 inch pipe, PVC, cut flat on the end. Slide this right over the top onto the seal. Alright, seal's all the way in. Now we're going to put a retaining clip back in. Alright, our new Yamaha dust seal. A little bit of oil on that as well. On the outside so it slides in easy. Just push that into place. Alright, dust seal's in place. Alright, so we're going to add some fork oil to it now. I tightened up the bottom Allen to torque spec. Alright, so these get 372 cc's of oil. So we're going to pour that in. Cycle it a couple times just to get it all worked in. Alright, then we're going to drop our spring back in. Then our spacer that has to go in a certain direction. Alright, so this part it's down so the spring can sit on top of, so the spacer can sit on top of that. And then our spacer. And then this point here, you can pull the fork leg back up. And you can see how much we have to push it down to get that top cap on. Alright, top cap with some seal glide on the O-ring. Alright, we're going to tighten this all the way when it's back up in the bike. When you're putting it back in, take some of this seal glide and lube up these O-rings that are in here. Make it slide back on easier. Alright, so when you get it back to here, put the clip back on. And now we're just going to work on this top air valve ring cap. And you see with the seal guide, it slides right on. There's a like a rubber bumper that kind of goes in between there. All right, looks like that. We're going to slide that in. And now when you slide it up, it's only going to let you slide it up until that bumper hits. And then we're going to be tight up there. So what we'll do here, now we know that that hole for the air is in the section where it needs to be. All right, guys, and that's about it. The other side is exactly the same. Put it all back together the same way that we took it apart. With the air pressure on the side, the factory spec for this is only like 6 pounds. So I think you can put up to 12 or something. I don't know exactly what it is, but I know the stock one factory is 6 pounds. So don't overfill this thing. Just put in the right amount, because remember, it's air in there. It'll expand and contract, it'll change. So I'm just going to put 6 pounds back in this. All right, so guys, hopefully this helped you out. It's a pretty easy job, straightforward. If you have a fork seal that's been leaking oil over your brake pads, make sure you replace the brake pads as well. That's really important. You won't have any brakes in these things if you don't do that. You need it to grab. Front brakes are extremely important. I use them all the time. I don't even use my rear. Make sure your front brakes work good. So make sure you put new pads in there. Clean up your discs in the front, and make sure you clean your calipers really good to get all the fork oil that's leaked all over them out. So guys, hopefully this helped you out. Please hit the like button, subscribe, hit the bell for further notifications. Until next time, I got a couple more videos coming up on this Virago. This is Tepco Sec Repair.